Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Sammy and this is my MMA Weekend Recap. A lot went on this weekend. We had UFC 199. If you didn't see it, go out and purchase this pay-per-view because it was one of the most exciting and action-packed cards of the year. Not only with UFC 199, there were several fight announcements, tragic passing of a legend, so there's a lot to cover. First, I'm going to start off with UFC 199, talk about it a little bit, then talk about some of the upcoming fights that were announced. In between those two, I'll probably talk about the tragic passing of a legend in the combat sports. First off, UFC 199 was a wonderful card. Great fights. The whole portion, the Fight Pass portion was awesome. The prelims on Fox Sports 1 were awesome. And the main card was awesome. You got your money's worth in UFC 199. If you're not a subscriber to Fight Pass, I would suggest that you order Fight Pass. They don't just throw bum fights on there. There's some really great fights, and once or twice a year you'll get a card that's exclusive to Fight Pass. The next one coming up is the Dos Anjos versus Alvarez. That alone is worth the subscription, really. Bisping versus Silva was a Fight Pass exclusive. That alone was worth the subscription. In the Fight Pass portion, the very first fight of the night was the fight of the night. Not very often does that happen, but these two guys went to war, and it was an awesome fight to watch. Polo Reyes versus Dong Yeon Kim. Man, these guys went back and forth. They left it all out there, and they both went for it and fought their hearts out. Polo Reyes got the win. I don't know how both of these guys managed to stand up for as long as they did, man, because they gave it all, and you could tell they were both worn out. Wonderful fight. It was the fight of the night, obviously, so these guys won $50,000 each. It was the best fight on the Fight Pass prelim. Then on the preliminary fights, there was Clay Guida versus Brian Ortega, which this was another awesome fight. Clay Guida was looking really great. Come down to the third round, you figure he's got this fight in the bag, he's gonna win it, and then out of nowhere, Brian Ortega knocks him out and steals the victory from defeat. Another great fight. If you didn't get to see that one, watch the replay of that. Then on the main card, there's some awesome fights. Dustin Poirier looked really good at lightweight. He knocked out Bobby Green. Bobby Green had a long layoff, and he was still talking shit, during the whole fight. He was just jawing and talking, and it's like, I get that sometimes, but just get to fighting, man. You know what I mean? Seems like he was more interested in talking crap than scrapping, I mean, he did scrap with Poirier, but Poirier was looking to finish the fight, and he did. It was a good fight. Next fight, was Dan Henderson versus Hector Lombard. Whoa. Dan Henderson, man, legend. This guy, probably too tough for his own good, In the first round, didn't look so good for Dan. He was pretty close to being finished, Lombard looked pretty good, caught him, but Henderson is tough, man. It's going to take a lot to knock him out. So he weathered the storm, and in the second round, Henderson, he didn't hit him with an H-bomb. I'd like to say he hit him with a E-bomb, elbow bomb. It was like a reverse elbow. Was one of the most spectacular things I've ever seen. Innovative, I think he swung and missed, but he came back with a back elbow and just knocked Lombard clean out. Which, I don't know for sure, but I don't think Hector Lombard has been knocked out like that. If he's been knocked out before, it wasn't like that. He was gone. This dude was out for a few minutes. He was laying on the canvas, unresponsive. It was kind of a scary sight to see. Good win for Henderson, but this is his last fight on his contract, and I really don't think the UFC is going to re-up with him. It's unfortunate, he's a legend. Although I really think he should retire. This is a wonderful win. Go out on top. It's hard to do that in this sport. If he could go out with this win, it was a signature win. He's got tons of awesome KO highlight reel. This just adds to it, and if he just calls it a fight career, that would be awesome. But it seems to me he still wants to fight, and I think he'll end up probably at Bellator. If you saw the last Bellator middleweight title fight, I actually believe Dan Henderson could beat both of those guys. Carvalho and Manhoof. Man, that fight was horrible. And I think if Dan Henderson was fighting either one of those dudes, he would have beat him. So he's still got some career left, against maybe not the upper echelon in the sport. So if he goes to Bellator and he drops that H-bomb on Carvalho, the way Carvalho looked in his last fight, I'll pick Dan Henderson all day long. So it would be great if he retires. He's just so tough, man, so durable. Too tough for his own good, but he's a legend. I guess he could do whatever he wants. So we'll see what happens in the next chapter of his story. Third fight between Uriah Faber and Dominic Cruz. I'm not really going to get into this fight too much. It was pretty one-sided. I really enjoyed the first round because they had some scrambles and there was some back and forth. That's the type of fight I like to see and I wanted to see because Faber was able to get him, get a hold of him. He dropped him in a slam at one point, and they had some good exchanges, But then in the second and third and fourth rounds, it was just all Cruz doing his, keeping distance, footwork, slipping and ripping. Cruz tagging Faber before he could even know what the hell hit him, and he was already gone. And he basically did that for the next few rounds and won a unanimous decision and retained his title. Where does he go from here? Who knows? I think Faber might have a few more fights in him left at 145. I would like to see Cruz fight maybe the winner of TJ Sunsao. Cruz looks really great. Kudos to him. Another fight I would like to touch on is Max Holloway versus Ricardo Lamas. Holloway looked really great. This guy's won 9 fights in a row. Holloway. And he hasn't just beat up some bums. He's beat up some really good fighters. So I don't know what you have to do in a division to get a title shot. But if anybody's deserving of a title shot, after Edgar and Aldo, it's Holloway. So I would like to see Holloway get his title shot sometime soon. I think he's going to have to get another fight before he gets a shot. It just depends on what Conor McGregor is doing, what he's going to do, because he's the champ in that division. Maybe Conor McGregor will vacate the title, and then the winner between Edgar and Aldo will be the champ, and maybe Holloway will be able to fight the winner of that. That would be awesome. Max Blessed Holloway is truly deserving, man. This guy is so young, too. I think he's only 24 or 25, and he's had 15 fights or so in the UFC. Man, this guy is a wealth of talent. Give this man his title shot. And in the main event, Michael the Count Bisping versus Luke Rockhold. Wow, what a stunner. This was worth the price of admission just to see this fight. I was going over this fight in my pre-fight predictions, and I was really trying to figure out a way that Michael Bisping could beat Luke Rockhold in my mind, and I just couldn't come up with it. I thought Luke was too dominant in every area, so I picked Rockhold to win. I watched their last fight over and over, and Rockhold's kicks, man, to the body, to the head, to the body, to the head. And Michael Bisping was just kind of lunging, and Luke could see that coming. He ate him up. So I just kept going over and over, and I was thinking, how could Bisping beat Rockhold? And I just thought to myself, there's no way he can. I thought this was just a lock. And I like Michael Bisping. Some people don't. I think he's a jackass, cocky, whatever, and maybe he is. But what I like about him is his heart. He's been in this sport for 10 plus years, and he's fought hard to get to that right by the title shot, and then he drops back down, and then he fights back up to get there and drops back down. And most people, they would just give up, they would just call it quits. But this guy, his heart and tenacity to just keep trying, keep going for it, even though he's been right there, and then knocked down and right there and knocked down, just to keep going. It says something about the love and the heart for the sport. And so for that, man, I'm just ecstatic that he won. I think this is one of the biggest upsets ever, given their previous fight, it was so one-sided. So this is why you watch the sport. In a lot of other sports, football, basketball, whatever, you tend to kind of know the better teams, and you go, well, 90% of the time this team is going to beat this team, whatever. But in MMA and in the fight game, especially MMA, anybody can beat anybody on any given night. Both of these guys, both of these men are human. They're both made of flesh and blood, and it's science, man. You get hit just in the right spot, you're human, you're gonna go down. And Bisping found that right spot with that overhand left, and he knocked Luke out. And I think Luke was a little overconfident in this fight, given their past fight. And this is one fight that I believe that Michael Bisping's mouth, talking shit, got him the win, because he talked so much crap to Luke Rockhold. And I think Luke was getting tired of it. And because I noticed Luke Rockhold did not go for a lot of leg kicks early on. I think he really wanted to punch and knock Michael Bisping out, with his hands. So I think he was kind of searching for that. And he was going in, and he was kind of upright, and he left his chin exposed. Because I don't think he respected Bisping, for one, and I think he really wanted to knock him out with punches, strikes. Didn't work out in the end for Rockhold. So good for Bisping. Wonderful fight, man. If you did not get to see this fight, find a way, watch it somewhere. It's a fight worthy of seeing. Also, this weekend we lost a legend in boxing and combat sports in general, Muhammad Ali. Very tragic news, regardless of what you think about him, his political beliefs and such. He transcended, the sport. He's a worldwide name. You say Muhammad Ali all over the world, people know who he is. There's a lot of people and fighters and teams and things that people call, this is the greatest, this is the greatest, he's the greatest, this and that. But Muhammad Ali, in my opinion, was the first person to truly be known as the greatest. And I think he forever will be. So, tragic passing, and my heart and prayers go out to his family. Next up, we have a couple fight announcements. We have UFC 200. Brock Lesnar is back, and he's going to face Mark Hunt. Wow. UFC 200 is 1 month away. I suspect Brock and Mark Hunt both knew that this fight was going to go down. So, they have to have been training for a little bit longer than a month, I would think. So, this is kind of a bullet in the chamber that UFC's been holding on to. I knew it was Mark Hunt because they had been in talks with Mark Hunt versus JDS supposedly for UFC 200. So when they announced Brock Lesnar was going to be fighting, I figured it was going to be one of those two guys, either Mark Hunt or JDS, because they had been talking about those two guys fighting. And it just made more sense to me, Mark Hunt. Next fight that was announced was UFC 202, the long-awaited rematch between Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz. To me, I'm like, okay, fine. Finally, they get it scheduled. Let's just do it and get it done with. I think it's at welterweight again. I don't know, man. I definitely will be watching. I don't foresee the outcome being any different. Maybe. Like I said, it's the fight game. Anything can happen. But I really wish that we could just hurry up and get this fight over with so we can figure out where Conor McGregor is going to go from here, whether he's going to defend his belt or move up to a different weight class or what. So I'm kind of indifferent about the fight being announced, but I'm happy that it's coming to fruition. That way we can kind of get past it. Next up, also at UFC 199, we had some news about the MMA Media, Ariel Helwani, and some of his staff being escorted out of UFC 199 and being banned for life from all UFC events. They say it's because he broke the news about Brock Lesnar coming to UFC 200 a little bit before the UFC cut the promo. And to be honest, I don't know what's the big deal, man. I didn't know that UFC or Brock Lesnar was coming back because of Ariel Helwani. I'm not checking the website when I'm watching the pay-per-view. I saw it on the pay-per-view, and I was like, wow, I saw the promo. I didn't even know that, the story had broke on his website. So I don't even know what the big deal is that, Dana White, and I don't even know if it's Dana White or just the UFC brass, but they're kind of tyrannical. They want to control the narrative. They want to release information at their pace. They want to release only what they want you to know. Very tyrannical, and you don't see this in other sports. That's what makes the UFC kind of unique, and maybe not in a good way, because there's no transparency. It's only what they want you to see and want you to know. I feel bad. Ariel Helwani is a wonderful journalist. When he left or was fired from UFC tonight, he's truly missed, because when he breaks a story and when he tells you something, you believe it and you know it to be true. When you hear from Ariel Helwani and his team, you know it's backed up by facts. He will survive. He has the MMA Hour. It's a great show every Monday. I suggest you watch this Monday's, June 6th. He's going to be talking about the whole reasons why he was escorted out and some of the reasons why he was fired from UFC on Fox and such. So he gives an inside look at what happened. Overall, it was a really great weekend of fights, fight announcements, tragedy with the passing of Muhammad Ali, and the tragedy of some great MMA journalists being banned. This is what we watch for. The drama, the excitement, the victories. Congratulations to Michael Bisping. Great champ. We'd like to see where he goes from here, who he gets to fight next. That's just my MMA weekend recap. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. If you know somebody that you think might like this video, please share it with them. As always, thank you for watching, and until the next video.